In a world where quality business information is needed, we bring you On the Mic with Mike, the leading social enterprise business show in RVA. Join Mike King, the partnership guru, as he delivers game changers in Metro RVA. On the Mic with Mike showcases how business can help make society better. He discusses tech, culture, innovation, best business practices, and highlighting area nonprofits. Join Mike Monday through Friday, because it is the place where the best and brightest come to chat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mike's Premier Business Radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, 5 to 7 a.m. Every day, Monday through Friday. It is International Business Code Radio, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, as well as CW Richmond TV Wednesday and Fridays at 5 a.m. What we do is we showcase RVA in a different way, and we talk about how business helps society be better. So when I shout out International Business Code Radio, that is business on a global scale. And what I got with me, I got one of the co-founders, Donna Cundy is here. Donna, welcome back to the program.
That's always great to be here, Mike. Thanks so much for sharing your mic.
All righty. So now I always say cool people. I was just with your guy, Bill Eastman. Shout out to Bill Eastman. A couple weeks ago, he sat in on our panel and he gave us insight onto how business on a global scale impacts business locally. You are one of the co-founders along with Bill. So, ma'am, I always say cool people know cool people. We're going to start out with your introduction, and then we're going to go to my man, Ben, with Influence with the Heart.
Fantastic. So introduction, you want me to do the introduction?
Yeah, let's get your bio out the way.
Oh, okay. Well, I am here because I started a radio station 3 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic, and have since produced over 14,000 podcasts, listened to a lot of voices from around the world, and have continued to amplify voices. I'm here because that's what I want to do, is to help change the business world, the world of business, one voice at a time.
Really quickly, so I remember having that conversation, and you were saying you're going to start a radio station, and the look on my face was like, huh? What?
Yeah.
So you had an idea, and you know, coming from the military too, you can be a taskmaster. You are the one who, the rules have to be, and plans have to be adhered to. Really, let's talk about that and how you incorporated Ben into that as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I didn't have the idea. Bill Eastman had the idea. He's the brains guy. And then when it came to the idea of a radio station, I've been a performer professionally for over 20 years in the United States Army. I was a piccolo player. And getting people performance ready very quickly was part of my gifting and in my wheelhouse. And so I kind of took over the back office when Bill nudged him out of the way and said, let me handle this. And that's where all of those podcasts came about, and the listening came about, and the patterns came about. And it was last year that I said, it makes sense in my head, but I want it to make sense in other people's head. How do I amplify this even further? And I knew the interactions I'd had with Ben Joya, the book coach, Influence with a Heart. I said, Ben, hey, do you want to do an interview? And Ben came back and he said, well, this sounds good, but I didn't see your message until just now. And I had messaged him a few weeks prior, and I said, well, this season's over. Do you want to do a season with me? And so we amplified the whole idea. And as we were working through that season, realized that there was a lot of overlap between starting a podcast and writing a book. And we found, he's a pattern genius as well, and we found those patterns and now have put it into a formula.
So really quickly, so Ben, I'm ready, man. I am, because I want to talk to you. When you see people's brands out there and people say if branding doesn't work, it's like I see and know you right there, because your work is out there and it precedes you. Let's get through your bio, your intro. I always say, hey, tell us who you are, what you do. And man, then I'm going to start. Okay, so the floor is yours, and then I got some questions.
Thank you, Mike. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, and I've heard a lot of great things about you, so it's just really fun to be in the mix with you. Help folks write and publish a book that they're super proud of. something that positions them as an expert, helps them share their message, tell their story, make an impact in the world. And what I figured out from a funny experience a few years ago is that you can actually get clients and partners before your book is published, right? A few years back, I was writing my second book. Somebody reached out to me from Stanford University, of all places, reached out on LinkedIn. They're like, hey, you want to do this 2-day training at Stanford? I was like, of course I do, right? After the shock, the shock wore away. And I said, we signed the contract. And I made a promise, and I had learned this from a business coach. I said to the event planner, hey, I'm going to show up with autographed copies of my brand new book for everyone in your audience, and your staff is like 130 books for free. And she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you so much. They're going to love it. I said, you're welcome. Hung up the phone, and I went, oh crap. I have to write that book right now. And I only have 6.5 weeks until the event.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was the beginning for me, because I wrote the book in 3 weeks, got it produced in 3 weeks, showed up to the event. The event was fantastic. The audience hired me to speak at their headquarters in Sydney, Australia the following year. And at that time, I had put a copy of the book cover, digital copy, up on LinkedIn. Again, book's not even done. Fortune 100 company reaches out to me, and they're like, hey, we're creating a mindfulness and empathy video game, with this Fortune 100 company, with MIT, and it's going to be played by 20,000 people. Do you want to write the curriculum? We saw your book. And I went, okay. Kind of shook my head in confusion again. And that turned into 10 months of consulting with this company. So I realized that, hey, not only do books make an impact, do books help us do our business better, right? But they also are tools that we can leverage even before they're published, before they're finished, to help, attract revenue and the right kind of partnerships to make good things happen in the world.
So Donna, when you and Bill are out there, and I remember Bill when I first met him years ago, shout out to Bill, he is the guy that brought me to radio. We always talk about return on investment and strategy and all those things. And then we see someone like Ben, we're talking about, as I always say, business can help society be better. Plus, changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free. The money got to change hands somewhere. So how is it that when you run across a Ben and you see that fitting into the business model of International Business Growth Radio?
Okay, I'm working to understand your question.
So the idea, a lot of times people look at business as cold hard, just the facts and the numbers.
Right.
And Ben's already said, hey, I wasn't done yet. And before I knew it, the people were coming because they wanted to put empathy, they wanted to put mindfulness in it. That becomes, or DEI, that becomes part of the business equation now.
Yeah, and I think where we're going with this one is, how do you make money before you have a product?
That is it. And also, that is it. And also, there's the good feel aspect of it. So people saw your work and they thought it would fit in because it was for the greater good as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with Ben and I that I always laugh about. It's the unsexy work, is what we call it, where you're having conversations with people. If you noticed, it was a LinkedIn message. It wasn't a blast out that I'm looking for this or I'm looking for that. It was showing up authentically. It was speaking from the heart. And it is about having conversations with people. I think what I'm seeing is, especially in the podcast world, I have a podcast, I'm going to blast it out to the world, and something will stick. And the approach is very different. It's a very intimate approach of, I want to help an individual. I want to help many individuals. And in order for that to happen, we need to make a connection with one before we can have a connection with one to many.
So Ben, really quickly, when people show up at your door, what's the one thing from holding them back to writing that book that's inside burning to get out?
It's a couple things, but I'll answer the one. It's the misperception about time. That they think they can't get a book done. It takes a long time. It's going to take years. It's right? And then from the time, ripple out all the other things like imposter syndrome and fear, and what about writer's block, which isn't actually true for nonfiction books. But again, Mike, it most of the 9 times out of 10, people will start with time, and then I will let them know how time is not an issue, and then they'll go, oh crap, and then they'll start writing their book.
Does everybody have a book in them?
I believe everyone who has a business that is successful or a business that can potentially be successful has a book in them if they do the book the right way. And conveniently, I want to say my way, but
That's good. Yes, sir.
but more expansively, if folks write a book that's deeply connected to their audience because they spoke to their audience, they spoke to people who are in their audience, and more specifically, even their ideal clients, right? Writing the best book right now for your ideal clients, right? That gives you everything you need for a book, right? The rest is structure and context.
All righty. So we have Ben with us. We have Donna Cundy, International Business Coach Radio. So Donna, let's talk about from the business aspect. What are you seeing that you guys are hearing from a global scale? How's business doing out there?
I think business is dependent on the business owner overall. In the US, there's these talks about things being not very good in the economy, but there's always going to be a business that will thrive in any situation. So which side of the coin do you want to look at, Mike?
That's true. So we're always looking at people are either pessimistic. So it may be industry specific, but generally when business owners are coming to you and you're putting together their podcast, you've seen them put together a lot of podcasts. What is it that the business owner, the person who's putting the podcast together, what is something that they need to do or come across?
They need to find their voice is what it's all about. It's about taking experience. And we just had this conversation in our mentorship group this last week. Turn around and see who's following you and be open to leading the way. I think that the people that Ben and I are working with are the ones who are ready to give back, to mentor, that have it's this idea of your stories plus your leadership experience put together. Now put it out into the world and allow yourself to be seen and heard in order to make that difference in the lives of other business owners. Help them along.
Really? So we have Ben with us. Ben, how can people find you out there with Influence with the Heart?
Gosh, come check me out at influencewiththeheart.com, right? That's the easiest way. Take a look and see if things resonate. If there's some way I can serve, please connect with me through the website, influencewiththeheart.com. And, please come check out the event that I'm doing with my friend Donna over here and 2 other amazing speakers at podcastandbook.com, because, that really, it's one thing to read something about somebody or watch a video, but, come hang out in the room with us, ask us questions, get in the mix. That's really the best way. It's a big invitation, I know, but come hang out and you can see what happens.
Well, I mean, it's a big invitation. It's a big event. Donna, we're going to get to the invitation in a minute, the event. But Ben, let's get to the Influence with the Heart. My business is social enterprise. It is about how business helps society better. How did you settle on Influence with the Heart?
Yeah, thank you. So I remember seeing the word influence and seeing the word leadership a lot, as I became an entrepreneur 14 years ago, right? And seemed like what some people were purporting was legit, and what some people purporting was, just sounded like a lot of noise. And they're using, terms like leadership conveniently and influence conveniently. And I thought, well, behind the ones that are going to make the impact, right, is the intention, right? Like the person who's showing up, teaching or sharing or leading, right, from a place of win-win-win, right? Not just win-win, but for me, win-win-win. Like, let's throw the whole world into the mix, right? You benefit, I benefit, the rest of the world benefits. If we can use that as a principal operator for the choices we're making, even the things we're saying, I find that to be a really great barometer. And as I use that in my own business, what I realized I was attracting more people like me. Mike, you said the right, cool people attract cool people. I felt it with the heart-based business owners, speakers, leaders, same kind of thing. There's so much more of us than we all realize. And we're the people driving the economy in the US, right? And we're the people who are pretty much stepping in and being the leaders in the world when there's a lot of, shall I say, lack of leadership or stymied leadership because of polarities that are not helping, all of us together at the same time.
So when you give people your message and the light comes on, and you see the light come on, and all of a sudden, what's the feeling like?
It's kind of ticklish, right? It's like, some goosebumps and some warmth, and I'm a big smiler anyway, but the smile gets bigger, and there's also some sense of I don't know if it's relief, but there's something of like, oh, they get it, right? And they can't go back now. And when they can't go back, that means
You got it.
They can only go forward.
There you go. All righty, so Don, let's talk about the event really quickly.
All right. It is podcastandbook.com. And like Ben had said, we're bringing in 4 fantastic voices to share exactly what to do in order to become that leader, that thought leader in the world. If you have that message and you're ready because you feel like you want to get it out there. I hear that a lot of times. I've always thought about podcasting. I don't know where to start. But Ben talked about the myth of writer's block. And there's a lot of other myths that we're busting in the publishing world and in the video world at the event. And so it is for those business owners who are ready to share a message, who are heart-centered, who want to not get quick, that like Ben was talking, it is about this being someone of substance, something of substance that you have proven. That's one of the things that you hear Bill Eastman all the time on the radio say, that on IBGR network, you have to done it. There's no theory.
Right.
If you didn't do it, we can't amplify that voice. We can't amplify that message. And so that's it, from my perspective, where we are with the event coming up in less than 2 weeks.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the magic happens. These 2 are outstanding people. Follow them on so it's IBGR Radio. That's the network. That's where I am, Saturdays 10 Eastern. That's where my man Gail Turner is as well. A lot of great folks, business people from around the world, people who have done it. Ben, Influence with the Heart, man. I mean, it speaks for itself. Like you said, when you see people who get it, they can't go back. And there's more people out there who are doing this than sometimes people want to give credit for. So thank you guys for coming on the program. Ben, let's connect again. I shortchanged you, man. I got to have you back on for the whole story. We can talk Bay Area and the positive influence that you guys are having. Donna Cundy, as always, tell my man Bill I said hello and thanks for everything. Thanks. Now take care, you guys.
Thanks. Bye.